Welcome. We are going to return to a video that we did at the beginning of this channel, in which we talk about how law enforcement is able to catch criminals by looking at the fishbowl in which we live. We live in fishbowls because we live in mega cities, and the mega cities are encased in a protective layer of particles that reflects the internet signals, and that reflection of signals allows for a better understanding of what is happening, because the signals do not escape. It's like being in a fishbowl, because it creates reflections and do not escape towards the space. First, we are going to see how a law enforcement top agent and investigator is catching cartel members, mafia members, by knowing everything that happens everywhere, and she explains how there is no escape to it. And then we will see how some members of the spy community, they talk about how there is no escape to the watchful eye. And then I will proceed to give an explanation of the technology, how it works and how it's able to be understood. I'm not using AI, I'm not using Wikipedia, I'm not using anything to rely on my dialogue, so you can see that I'm not a paid agent that I will be talking about in the future. Paid agents, influencers that are influencing people, but in fact they are paid agents by governments in order to influence people. I'm just a normal person trying to explain my point of view. And then at the very end, we will have a repetition of the first video that I did, the third or fourth video. It's called True Story. It's a story that I heard by hearing a Chinese channel, in which the brother-in-law of the China main president, he was able to create a virtual reality game in which the elites are able to see us like if we were on a virtual game, and they are able to walk among us, and by seeing everything inside the fishbowl. So hold on to your own this, and we will start right now. Thank you.
Oh yeah, finding the Americans who are violating the law is the easy part. So don't think you're going to get away with it and make a quick few bucks and no one will know. We know. You'd be amazed at what we know. We may be following you now. Waiting for you to go to the next guy. We may be watching you. And not ready to take you down. So don't risk it, because you're going to jail.
This is the call to action. There is nowhere to hide. You guys told me not to have a doom message.
But really, at the end of the day, it's all of us. All of us are going to be coming together, doing this together, and so that we are truly stronger as a company, as a country.
And here we have the domes that I wanted to explain why we live in a fishbowl. These are the kind of domes created by the particles floating around, and here we have the watchful eye watching all over us and keeping track of all of our movements inside the mega cities fishbowls. This is like a representation of South Florida with their 3 mega cities inside of the state. I hope that this gives you a better understanding of what I am trying to say, how the particles floating around, how we can see the fishbowl from inside, what is a dome, invisible dome, so it's not like we can see it. Here is law enforcement having a watchful eye over all the criminals and everything that happens. Of course, that with time, once the criminals are caught, the law enforcement is gonna start lowering the bar on crime in order to have more prey to prey on. And here we have some sort of elites being able to watch us in real time and interact with us. Here we have the criminals in a sort of jail that will be put because they are being found and everything can be seen by the watchful eye. Here we have a drone, that how drones are able to map the entire country, the entire area that we want. Here we have an explanation how LiDAR can map on 3D every single part of the area in question, the target area. Here we can see how it can be mapped to the millimeter and how even the lower people can see anything. You don't need to be a fancy person, you just need to have some sort of coin. Here you can see how everything can be seen, to the point that even the power lines can be distinguished. And here we can see how even infrared can be seen, and we still do not understand that everything can be seen even inside houses. Here we have the guy showing the LiDAR package that he says that it costs at least $60,000. And here we can see an explanation of how Chinese people use this sort of system in order to have fun, but in fact this is just a fantasy thing, but the reality is that they are able to see us in real time in a good copy of the world. And next we will see how a guy is able to see his own apartment using such technology. Even though the technology that the people use is low tech, we understand that the powers to be, they have at least 25 years advance in technology than us. So if we are seeing this, the real law enforcement, they have a 25 years advance. So it's been at least 25 years since this technology exists, and we all are being seen. So there is no reason to be upset, there is no reason to be angry with governments. This is just a consequence of technology, and there is no one is to be blamed. And if we have been seen all of these years, well, let's just accept it and move on. No need to be upset, no need to blame anybody but ourselves. If there is something that we want to hide, well, it's just tough luck, that we got to live on this time, and let's find the best thing to get out of it, instead of being a crying Karen. Let's just be wise people and try to get the best out of the situation. That's my point of view. Everybody is entitled to their own point of view, but I think that being upset is nonsense, and it's just to try to find the best out of any situation. And here we have another form of explanation, how the Wi-Fi signals, they can be seen and tracked by cameras. Here we see a guy that built an antenna capable of translating the signals into images. So this is the low technology. Now we are able to have a better understanding with AI. AI assigns a number to each device, and each device is tied to each person. So it's a better way to track us and to categorize us via our psychological profile. And if this technology exists for a year or two on YouTube, so it really means that it has been on the hands of the army, of the law enforcement, for at least 25 years. And the NASA also must have it. So that's what I'm saying. We can see this is sort of a prehistoric technology, the one that we are seeing, because it's a past technology. We can see how cameras are able to track the movement, and if you think that cameras are tracking you, you don't even understand that signals are already flooding us, and that we are fishes in the water, and the water creates ripples, and the ripples can be read by artificial intelligence, and that's how crimes and criminals are being caught by this. And the proof is that the Attorney General was talking about catching criminals is extremely easy. And here we have a representation of a naive individual taking a bath, thinking that he is alone, that nobody is looking at him, and that's a representation of ourselves. This is how we are. We are pets for the zookeepers. We are pets for the king, the elite, the king of the world, and we are a representation of this animal taking a bath happily without understanding that everything can be seen. Enjoy this moment because we may be this one. And next I will have the video that I did at the beginning of this channel trying to explain the situation, but now with better imagery I am able to give a better explanation and to show a different point of view. I hope that you understood everything, and I hope that you understand that all my videos have a deeper meaning and a better explanation is on their way. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate that you are taking the time, and I hope that you click like. He was the brother-in-law to the most important man in the world. Feared in public, soft behind doors, especially with his wife and her brother. It didn't matter, never did. He was handed down the crown of an empire, electric carriages, industries already built by foreign hands. So he found a hobby, not building, not inventing, commanding, and he wanted one thing, whatever his brother-in-law desired. The command to build an industry that will make them gods. All-knowing, all-seeing. The foreigners thought themselves clever. He showed them what supremacy really looked like. He hired the brightest minds from abroad, gave them one task, to compile the planet's maps into a living simulation, virtual reality, real time. All it needed was energy and cooling. Easy when you sit atop the world. The day came. The presentation was flawless. 60% of the country map in real time. The intelligence office could see everything inside the bubble. But the great leader wanted more. So came the second command. Use radar, paired with mapping. Detect people, detect animals. Fund the foreigners. Feed the machine. With AI assigning real-time identities, they could walk among the masses in virtual space. Record every movement. Why not? We're just fish in the water. Too blind to see the tank. And then, just as the project reached perfection, the foreigners pulled the plug. Income vanished. The people rebelled. The brother-in-law safe somewhere. But he finally saw it. He wasn't the puppeteer. He was a puppet, a carnival act. And the one pulling the strings, a horned, red-masked demon. Now he understands. The show is over, and he is being tossed to the corner. They gave me control, not through loyalty, not through fear, through ignorance. They built their world on wires and whispers, fed machines with gold, mapped their movements, and called it progress. But they never asked who was watching, never wondered who pulled the strings. I wear the mask not to hide, but to reflect their desires, their obedience, their silence. I am the puppeteer, because they never learned to see, and now they dance for me.